Hi, everyone. Welcome to Baking with Gabriella. So, happy Valentine's for all of you who are celebrating Valentine's Day today. And even if you don't, happy Valentine's anyways. So, today I thought that I'm going to make some recipes, including hollow bread, rye bread, and I think I'm going to make some coconut balls, um, for Valentine's Day. So I'm going to start to mix first my hollow bread together because that is going to need a lot of kind of creativity with the different type of things that I'm planning to add to it. And hollow bread needs to, it's also called collage in Hungarian. It's need to rise multiple times and then you have to braid it and then it's going to have to rise again. So I am going to first just start with the yeast. And it's really cool that I'm in Hungary. This is not, I haven't seen that this being available in the US, but in Hungary, you can buy yeast like in a block like this. So this is fresh yeast. So um, in one block, I divided into two bowls like this. And right now, I am just going to kind of grind it just a little bit so it becomes looking like this. I am going to add just one little spoonful of brown sugar to it, to both of them. I'm going to do the same with the other yeast because these breads going to need to be mixed and then going to need to rest. So I'm going to mix one and then I'm going to mix the other one. So one sugar looks like this, going to mix it together a little bit. And I have a little bit of room temperature of milk. You can also use water. I'm just going to add a little bit of milk to it. Not to the other one yet. I'm just going to mix the first one. Just like this. And also going to add a touch of warm water. So I'm going to let the warm water out for a minute and going to add probably about a quarter cup. This is 60 milliliters of warm water. So it's going to wait for the warm water for a second. And this challah bread recipe is from my grandmother. Which I'm very excited to bake for my grandmother's recipe. So I added the yeast, I'm mixing it together, and I'm just going to let it sit. And at this point, I think I'm going to see if there would be a way to flip the camera around so you guys can actually see what I'm doing. Or to position it away. Oh, let's do some rearranging and see what I can do here. Yes, I have things right in front of me. I'll be able to see because this is right in front of me. Okay, so I just have mixed the yeast right here. And right now I'm going to measure it out because I'm going to be needing about 6 deciliter of milk, which is about a little bit more than halfway over here. So I already have some milk out here. And I already have some in here. And for the variation of this, I'm also going to add some almond milk because I don't want to use just whole milk. And have a little bit of extra milk to add. All right, so I have the milk out, so this can rest, and I'm going to put the rest of the milk away. I like to put things away as I'm working with them. Now, something different that I'm going to do with this herbal recipe is that I'm also going to add buza şeker, which is additional gluten. To see, because when my grandmother used to make the recipe, I think the flour and the gluten part of the flour was different than currently. So the challah bread was more fluffy in a way, and I'm kind of missing that right now. So I'm just going to put this aside here for a second, and I'm going to measure out my flour. For this, I'm going to need 1 kilogram of flour. So I have my scale here handy dandy and going to measure it out. I'm going to use two different type of flour. So I'm going to use half a kilo from a regular flour, another half a kilo what's called a ratish flour, ratish list. It's a more fine flour. And I'm also going to sift through the flour. We got a little bit extra. Okay, perfect. And I put in a small bowl, but actually I'm going to use a bigger bowl. And I'm going to get a swifter. So this is our first half a kilo flour. And I'm going to swift flour. That's going to make the flour lighter. And there's little particles that we don't need in them. And right now I'm going to add about a half a cup of buza şeker. And I'm going to swift through that as well. This is the first time I'm adding this, and I'm just really hoping that this is going to help to make the flour and the challah bread much more fluffier. So I'm going to mix it together. There you go. And now I'm going to add some more flour. And this flour this time is going to be my thinner flour. It's very, 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 very fine. It's called reytaşlis. Wow. half a kilo from that. Perfect. This is already a super very fine flour, but I'm going to add more anyway. See how fine it is? It just swifted right through. So these are all the flours that we are going to add. So I'm going to move my scale and my swifter away. So I have two different type of flour for the challah bread. And this is an experiment. I have not made it this way before, but I wanted to try something new to see if this will help the consistency and just create something magical and beautiful. All right, so we are also going to add a few eggs to the challah. Going to add 2 eggs. Picked up the eggs from the local producer, and they are beautiful. As you can see, the yellow. This one broke, the egg shell broke. Let's see. Yes, we made it. Perfect. And we use recycle in the compost the eggshells, which is very important for me. And we do 5 spoonfuls of sugars for the challah bread. And there's also one additional egg that we use on the top of the challah bread. So I'm going to add the 5 spoonfuls of sugars, and I'm going to use brown sugar. You could also use honey if you like. Going to mix that together. All right, so I'm going to make a little indentation in the middle here. Going to put in my sugar and egg. And I'm also going to put in my yeast that's starting to bubble now. Looks very nice. And I'm also going to need a spoonful of butter. And this butter, I kind of left it out, so it's going to be nice and soft. Going to add my butter in there. And I'm going to need a second spoonful of butter with the second mixing as well. And at this point, you don't need anything else, just the milk. So I'm going to cover all the stuff that I put in there and starting to mix. And of course, I'm going to get my hands dirty soon too. But I'm just starting to mix what I have in here right now. You could also use a machine, but right now I'm also kind of making this for the memory of my grandma and just kind of wanted to get my hands dirty, which I will soon. And also melt the butter, but I just kind of wanted that natural butter feeling, and it's pretty soft, so I'm going to be able to, spread the butter nicely, which is what I'm going to do right now. Start to mix these really well, and then going to start to add the milk to it. It feels nice and it smells wonderful too. If you're watching now or going to watch this later, please let me know if you have any questions. I have written a few stories about this recipe, but I'm now changing it a little bit. So I'm going to write the recipe down below as well and add links to the other challah bread recipes that I have made and tried. And I think with baking, just like with anything it's life, it's good to experiment. And we're going to hope that it's going to turn out great. But I don't really know until I try it, right? So, all right. So now slowly I'm going to start to add some milk. And the dough needs to be soft and sticky. So I might need to add more milk to it. We'll see. More than what I measured out. Just going to have to see how they'll come together. Just kind of want to see where the dough is when I add the milk that I have right now. So we're going to add some more. And let's see where we are. And I also added the shiker or gluten, so that might also create some differences. The dough is taking up more space. It might need more moisture than normally, which I think might be the case, but we will see. Okay, so I kind of mixed it together. So right now, I'm going to have a little extra flour here for my hands. I'm going to show you guys this is how the consistency is right now. I think we are good with the milk. You're starting to form a nice dough here. And at this point, I think I'm going to be able to put this out and knead the dough. Example here. Okay, right. Take out our bread. Hi, Richard. Thank you so much for joining. I saw you jumped in yesterday too. I'm making challah bread for Valentine's Day. It's my grandma's recipe. And I did send you a message. I think you requested a message in email. I don't know if you received it or not, but when you asked, I did do that. So I'm just making the challah bread. This is going to be the first rising. It's also called kolac in Hungarian. So I'm just kneading it right now. Let me know if you have any questions about anything. Also happy to have a conversation about anything as well. I just figured I'll be baking and want to see if anybody want to jump in, watch me bake, or have any questions. I'll talk about anything. So I'm going to make a challah bread. I'm also going to make a rye bread, and I'm going to make some almond, coconut, chocolate with balls for today. And I'm in my mom's kitchen, and it's so soothing that I'm creating a recipe that my grandma used to make. So this is going to be our challah bread, and this is going to be the first rising for the bread. It has 1 kilogram of flour, but I mixed up 2 different type of flour, kind of a regular flour and also a thinner, finer flour. That's called búzafina flour in Hungarian. And I switched to them, and I added some extra gluten because it's called sikér in Hungarian. I believe that the breads before and the flours used to have that higher sikér content that we don't have right now anymore. And the breads turned out more fluffier. So I'm trying that right now to see how would that be. It might work great. It might not work at all. So we will see. We will see what happens. But I appreciate you joining my journey. So I'm going to use the bowl I have used before and just put some flour in it, the bottom. I'm going to put our challah bread in there. Going to cover it with some flour. I'm going to let it rest. And get a clean kitchen towel to cover it up. And our challah bread is going to rest now. Please let me know if you have any questions about anything. Okay. I have not checked my emails. Thank you for doing so. You remembered on Valentine's Day. Thank you so much, Richard. I think you asked me last week to reach out to me in email. So I just said hi because I didn't know if there was something specific you needed or you just wanted to get connected. But I am here and happy Valentine's Day to you and for anybody who is watching this later. And I mean, although I appreciate the celebration of today, I just felt like I just wanted to bake for my family. And the challah bread is special for me because of what my grandmother. And the next thing we're gonna make while that first challah bread is resting, we're going to make some rye bread. And I already have the yeast here, and I'm going to add some water and I have a little bit of sugar. And this water is special because I got it from a local source here in Hungary in Folk. There's what we call a kút, which is also like a fountain where you can get some water. And this water is like not thermal water, but it's like healing water. It has some really good quantities of iron and chlor and many different elements. I don't know all of them from the top of my head, but they are very good. They are even highly recommended for babies. So I am excited to use this water for the bread. You can also use it for drinking, which I have some water right here. And this is going to be the first time that I'm going to use this water to make bread. I'm going to get a fresh bowl out for my next bread, the rye bread. And while I have a recipe, sometimes I just change things to, whatever feels right. So we'll see what happens. I'm going to get my measuring scale and I'm going to sift all the flours because that's what feels right to me to kind of make them more lighter, fluffy. So for the rye bread, we're going to need about 1.5 cup of water. So I'm going to add that water. 1 cup of water is about 250 milliliter, which is 2.5 deciliter. So I'm going to say that's about half a liter of water. Oh, that's very sweet of you. I love baking. I love writing and creativity. So I just feel like whatever speaks to you, do that. So I'm just trying to do that. But it's very kind of you to say so. I'm going to get my cup measurements. Bring those out. For the first one, I'm going to add the same amount, about half a cup of gluten mix, which is also called búzasükr in Hungarian. And I'm hoping that with the addition of that, this will just really help like lighten the bread and make it more fluffy. And I'm going to use about 2.5 cup of rye flour, which I think is going to be about half a kilo, but we are going to measure it out. So I can tell you guys metric measurements as well. I like to use both and see where we are. So 2.5 cups of rye flour is getting close to, it's about 300 grams of flour. So I'm going to add that. And for those of you who are in Hungary, I was using Nagy Titka teljes kérlésű rozslist. I'm adding that to be right now. Sifting through. And I'm going to add something interesting to this. So I'm going to add some whole wheat flour, but I'm also going to add some, well, in Hungarian it's called tökmögdöst. In English, I'm not sure if this flour exists, but it's made from like pepitas. All right, so this flour is sifted through. It looks beautiful. And just for fun, I added a tiny piece of what's left from the challah bread in here. Because let's make life interesting. So next we're going to use full wheat flour. I'm going to add about 1 cup of that. I'm also going to measure it out in metric so I can tell you guys. It's going to be about 130 gram. And we might have more, we'll see. And I'm going to show you guys this really fun Tokmak flour, flours from pepitas. And I'm going to add 1/2 cup. Oops. Maybe a tiny bit more. Maybe more wants to come with me. Let's see, how much is this? It's about 75 grams. So we're going to add that. It's nice and green. It's going to be interesting. I have not done this before, so we'll see what's going to happen. But I always like to experiment. It might turn out good, might not. But we hope that it's going to turn out good. And sifting the flour is just making everything lighter. Mix this together. And because this is going to be a rye flour, and I love caraway seeds, we're going to add some caraway seeds, but not the actual seeds, but ground seeds, seeds that are ground already. So let me get that out. I'm just going to add just a touch, or a little bit, because we love it. And I'm going to add some salt. I love Himalayan salt, so I'm going to add a spoonful or two, because my mom and the rest of the family loves salt. So the last rye bread that I made was Icelandic rye bread. And you don't use much salt of that because that's more like a sweet bread. So I got complaints that it was not salty enough. So I added 2 spoonfuls of salt. Hopefully that's enough. We might add some more. And now I'm going to also add some brewer's yeast to this. It's also called Shurina Stutahain. And that just adds some extra nutrients and vitamins. And it kind of similar to the taste of Parmesan cheese. So it could not hurt, right? Mix all that together. And now that all is that mixed, right now I'm going to make like an empty area in the middle. And I'm going to add the yeast in here. Let's get it rising. And cover it up for a minute. And then we're going to start to slowly add the water. But before that, we are going to add a spoonful of butter. And this butter is soft, but melted, but you can also melt it. And I'm going to start to mix this together. We'll see how the challah bread is once this is mixed together to see if we can do the second rising. If not, then I can start to work on the coconut balls that I'm planning to make for Valentine's Day today. Let's see. This smells so wonderful. I think this is going to be great. I know that pepitas also in English have another name, but I can't think of it right now. Sometimes, since my brain don't always remember all the names of everything, but they come to me later, or they come to me in a different language, like in Hungarian, it's tokmag. So I know what it is. It can just not come to me in English. Um, Pumpkin seeds also? Yeah, maybe that's it. Pumpkin seeds. Just as I say that, I can think of. I think pumpkin seeds are also pepitas. Just sometimes the weirdest things I can't remember. So again, I'm doing this differently. I'm kind of making sure everything's mixed by hand like this. All the butter becomes kind of small. And the salt is mixed in together. I think I'm going to add a little bit more salt. It's because my family loves salt, and I want to make sure it's salt in the. So, because this dry bread we want to be kind of unique for today, I'm also going to add some flax seeds, maybe about a quarter cup or so. That's about those omega stuff we need. So I like to mix the flax seeds in there. I'm going to add some sunflower seeds and potatoes as well. Oh, this looks so good. The smell of this. Oh my God. With the caraway powder. I'm just in heaven. This is so wonderful. So we're gonna hope that it's gonna be tasting wonderful as well. All right, so I'm going to start to add some water. And let's see if this water is going to. Again, this variation of the rye bread I have never made before. I'm trying something new for fun and for Valentine's Day and just for why not be creative. It might work out. I love to experiment in the kitchen. Going to save the bowl for rising. I think it's good to experiment and just kind of be bold sometimes. It's also good to do the same recipes over and over again, but I would get bored. So I don't know if I ever bake the same thing over and over again. Always like need a little bit of change. It's something new. All right. I think Brad looks pretty happy. Smells wonderful. To get this bowl. Or and get some other kitchen towel. That's clean. And put it with our bread. And right now I'm going to check our hollow bread to see how that's doing, if it's ready for a second rising or not. I think our hollow bread is getting there, but it's not fully there. So I'm going to let that just be for right now. And I think we are going to make some Rolls, balls. I'm right here. I'm just going to watch my channels, get some of the flour out there. All right. So right now, I have the idea that for Valentine's Day, I'm going to make some chocolate coconut rolls. It's unique surprises inside. So I'm going to make this to get a small hole, and I'm going to clean my surface area over here. Get some pasta flour on it. Because it's cooler in the winter, I'm not sure how much time it's gonna take for the breads to rise. So in case if the hollow bread is not ready by the time I am done with these coconut chocolate balls, if it's not ready yet to form again, I might get offline and then do pictures and little snippets of videos after. So here is my, and what I was thinking is to use almond flour and use some goji berries, some cranberries. So I'm going to put those in a small bowl. Gonna check how dry these are to see if they need to be soaked. Goji berries are kind of lemon. And it kind of depends on how much you make. So this is maybe a little bit less than a cup. But since I'm also going to use the cranberries, I didn't buy a big bunch. And the cranberries are more moist, but I think I'm gonna soak both of them. Is it? Well, let's see. Yeah, I think I'm going to soak both. Some water. And while I'm soaking those, I'm going to add the almond flour. And this one, I'm not really measuring. I'm just going how much I had. Maybe 2 cups, I would think. That was in there. But I'm just going to use as much moisture as it soaks it up, right? So I have some coconut milk. So I'm going to do the coconut flavor. You're also gonna need to be enough coconut flakes to cover the outside, but I want it to be nice and coconutty as well. And for the chocolate, I'm going to use Holland cocoa powder. It's a really good quality. And look at the beautiful color of this. I guess about 4 tablespoons. Let's see how it looks. How we mix it together. I'm going to add a few more cocoa powders. We also have a different kind of mixed cocoa powder here. I'm going to add a touch of that too, just for different flavor. Mix it all together. I could also make this from something like a baked um, lady fingers or something like that, or crackers. But I just figured it would be nicer just to use the almond flour because that's a healthier version. But checking my goji berries, and they're still a little um, hard. So I don't want to put them in hard, so I'm going to let them soak a little bit. So the currants, not currants, the cranberries, which also called vörös árvanya in Hungarian. I'm kind of making them smaller because we don't want them huge in the balls. I think I'm going to add also a little bit of vanilla sugar, which I also wanted to add to the hollow bread, and I didn't. But I still have a chance with the second mixing to do that. I thought about grinding this, but I want the flavor of that, like when you touch on that piece of fruit in the balls. I don't know if you're still here, Richard. If you have any questions, let me know. All right, well, I appreciate you joining on Valentine's Day. I didn't know if anybody will join. Yesterday, in conversation with Hargale and originally Penman, we had 146 people join, which was great. It was different. It was not cooking. It was conversation, and it was Friday night. So All right, so let this soak a little bit. And right now, what I'm going to do to make this mixture moist is I'm going to add some jam to it. I would also add a little bit of the liquid from this mixture. So just when it's moist enough to be able to form the balls. So I believe this is peach. See how the flavor is. I think this is really good. My mom made this. Mm. All right. Mm. It's really good. Mm. It's going to be amazing. Oh, hi, Deborah. Thank you so much for joining. I am making hollow bread, dried bread that are rising right now. And at this moment, while I'm waiting for that, I am making some special coconut chocolate peach um, balls for Valentine's Day. They're also going to have cranberries and goji berries in them. Let me know if you have any questions. Let me know how to do today. Thank you for jumping in and joining. So I have in this chocolate mix, I have almond flour. I have small ground coconut flakes. And I have cocoa powder, some sugar, and I just added peach jam to it that my mom made that is very good. And I'm soaking the cranberries and goji berries. And the cranberries I kind of Knead it into smaller pieces so I cannot tear them apart. And I think the cranberries are good, so I can start to add those in here. And as I add them, I can tear them again. I didn't want to grind them because I kind of wanted that bite of the fruit and somebody bites into these balls, but I also didn't want them too big in there. I just kind of tear them in half or quarters. But the goji berries are a little bit tougher. So I think they still need to soak like another minute or two. So I'm just kind of fishing out cranberries here and adding them. The goji berries are getting there, almost there. And of course, they can continue as well while they're in the bowls. So hope you're doing well. Deborah, thank you for joining today. Um, doing anything interesting today? Let me know. Yeah, the goji berries are almost there. So some of them are super good. So I might be able to add this whole mixture. And I think I'm going to add the water too that they were soaking in. Yeah, I think this is ready. So here is my mix. And I'm going to add the goji berries and the cranberries. And then we'll see how the moisture content is, if we need to add anything else. Many times I do this with like some kind of nut butter as well. When I want to do something different, like the flavor is wonderful. I'm gonna mix with my hand and see how sticky I got. Oh, and I wanted to add a little bit of vanilla sugar. So let's make sure I'm not gonna get that. Oh, I think they're gonna be pretty good. Nice and moist. Guess I can grab the vanilla sugar. Very good. And just add a little bit for the flavor. And I'm just going to add just a little bit of butter, probably like a spoonful to it. Not this much. Maybe a touch more. Just gonna mix it into here a little bit. Just to add a little bit to that creamy consistency. I'm just making this up as I go, in case you haven't noticed. Whatever feels right to add, to put in there. Like the smell. It has like a rum flavor is also really nice in this. I don't know if we have any. I test my mom. Anyuka, romaro van? Okay. Uh, Vanilla. Oh, that's it. Chicken one. That's all right. You just have vanilla. Which I had added some vanilla sugars to it. So let's see how this will together. It's not all together yet. I don't really want to add more butter, so I think I'm going to add just a little bit of almond milk. All this together. Let's see if this is enough. Much more. Oh, this is going to be the right consistency. Let's see. There's still just a little crumbling. Don't want it too moist. You don't want it not moist enough. Still crumbling. Still just a little bit more. So with this kind of stuff, I cannot do measurements because as I'm making up the ingredients as I go, I have to see how much of everything I need and how it tastes and how it feels like. Try to add a little bit more butter. Really genuinely want to, but I feel like it needs it. Now this could be made into a coconut roll, and then you can cut it. You can make it into balls. I just kind of wanna. I mean, I just do this in a bowl, but I also feel like I might just wanna dump it out and work on it. So there's still not enough moisture in it. So this was not a good idea to take it out of the bowl. I'm gonna put it back in the bowl. Gotta love when you create and make a mess. I made a mess. Anyway, I don't know why I thought taking it out of the bowl would be a good idea. But it was obviously not. So the almond flour was more dry than I thought. It is just not holding together very well than I thought. But the jam and almond milk is enough, but it's not. Mary, thank you for joining. I'm making Valentine coconut balls, chocolate, and also making challah bread that are rising right now and rye breads that are rising right now. This one I'm having a little tough time with it. It doesn't really want to stick together. So I feel a little stuck with it. So what I'm going to do I'm going to let it rest a little bit. I'm going to wash my hands and check my hollow bread to see how that's doing. I'm going to clean off my walking surface here. And I mixed the hollow bread for it was my grandmother's recipe. So I thought it was really nice to make that for my family since I'm in Hungary. Kind of to her memory, and she loved baking and she loved creating something for us all the time. So I thought to continue the tradition and make something for my family today. And I was back in and check on my hollow bread. Here is the hollow bread starting to rise. It didn't necessarily doubled yet, but I think we're good enough to do the second mix and let it rise again. Second mix, I need to add about another spoonful of butter. And for Deborah and Clary who just joined, so the hollow bread has 1 kilogram of flour, 2 eggs, 6 deciliter of milk. That was mixed together with almond milk. And I had a half of a yeast, which would be probably about 1 tablespoon of yeast. But in Hungary here, we had regular yeast. So here's a hollow bread. And the only thing I'm adding right now is the second spoonful of water. And that's what you have to work into the hollow bread right now. So normally you let it sit for 30 minutes after mixing everything together. With the yeast, I added 5 spoons of sugar, and I used brown sugar for that. Once I mix it all together, let it sit for 30 minutes. And now that I'm mixing it together, I'm going to let it sit for another 30 minutes, but it might be longer right now because the air is just cooler in the winter time. Even though we have some heat going inside, it's just not as warm like it would be in the summer. It would be much quicker. One other thing that I added is extra gluten or Bose sugar to this hollow bread to see how the change of the gluten make this difference. And literally, this is all I did right now. And also, there's a very fine list that's called Woodlery. This is very Hungary. So I used half of that and half of regular white rice flour, and I sifted it through. So this was a hollow bread after kneading it for the second time. I'm going to flour the bowl out again. And as you can see, this is a very, very fine flour. This is the Räteschlipst. Just flour the bowl at the top. And we are going to put it back to rest again for another half an hour. Cover it up. And we are going to check on our rye bread next. Let's see how that's it. So here's the rye bread. I mixed this after I was mixing the hollow bread. And that one is still about the same. I think it's going to need more time. I think I'm going to have to put some extra heat on for this one to rise more. So, and we did get some room aroma, some room flavoring. So I'm going to add a little bit of that to our chocolate coconut balls. So yeah, that's amazing. So I'm gonna let that one more. Gonna let that soak in. And I think I'm going to add a little bit more of the vanilla flavoring as well. I'm gonna let that soak in and let this coconut, chocolate, almond flour mixture sit for a while. To see how we are doing with it. And mix it a little bit just with a spoon. But I think I'm gonna add something else to this to add more moisture because I think that the almond flour that I used too much, and you see, it's kind of falling apart. It's not sticking together. The flavor is amazing, but I need to add something more to be a little bit more moist so I can form the balls. So I think at this point I have a few more hours to finish the bread and finish the coconut balls. So I'm going to take a little break. I'm going to let this sit. I'm going to let the bread rise. And then I'll do pictures and little snippets of videos so that you guys can see how everything turned out. Thank you so much for joining today. Until I see you guys next time, Gabriella signing off. Happy Valentine's Day and may your day be joyful, beautiful as always. Thank you for being here. Bye, everyone.